Daf Kuf Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph. We'll begin Daf Kuf Chaf Amud Beis, 3 lines from the bottom at the 2 dots. Pigel van Noiser mitamas yadayim. The Mishnah said that Pigel and Noiser, the person touching it, his hands become tummy. It's a din d'Rabbanan to be matama the hands. Rav Huna Rav Chisda Haram Mishum Chashdikon. One says the reason is Chashdikon. We suspect the Kohanim. We suspect them of doing something improper. Haram Mishum Aslei Kohana, that laziness of the Kohen. Now, as Rashbam explains, that they're not arguing. One is referring to Noiser and one is referring to Pigel, as we'll see. Haram Markazayas, one says that the shear, how much of it does he touch to mitam in the hands? It's a kazayas. Haram Markabeya, if it's the size of an egg of kebeya. So the more explains. Chad Tanya Pigel, one learns it's going on Pigel, Chad Tanya Noiser. And they're not arguing as far as the reasons of Chashli or Atzli. They're not arguing. One is referring to Pigel, and the other one is referring to Noiser. Man Tanya Pigel Mishum Chashli Kahuna. The one that taught it the reason in respect to Pigel is Mishum Chashli Kahuna. We're afraid that the Kayan would want to harm somebody, a Saineh, want to harm him, and he'll mufagel the carbon in order to passel it. So therefore, there's a consequence to the Kayan. If he does so, then he's touching the Pigel, his hands become tummy, and we know the Kohanim were very, very careful on Tumah. So that would act as a deterrent for the Kayan to do that. So he learns in Mandatane Pigel Mishum Chashdik, Mandatana Noiser, the one who says the reason in reference to Noiser, Mishum Asli Kahuna. He says it in reference to Noiser, and it's Asli Kahuna, is that the Kohanim should be Zrizim and not delay in eating the korbanos, so it shall not come lidei noiser. And if that's the case, this reason applies not only to Kohanim, applies to anybody, that they should be diligent and make sure that they eat the korban before it becomes nicer. Then the other machlekes is Charamar Kazayas, Charamar Kabeya. One says Kazayas, one says Kabeya. Mandamar Kazayas says Kazayas. Why is the shir of Kazayas Kisur? It corresponds to the Isser of eating Noiser and Pigel. The shir Achila is a Kazayas, so the shir of Tomad Biyadayim is Kazayas. Mandamar Kabeya, the one that says Beya, is Ketumosa. The shir of being Matama, Midaraisa, being Matama is Kabeya. So here also it's a din of Tumah. It's a din of Tumah, so the corresponding shiur is Kabeya. Zok the Mishnah, Beirach, Birchas Pesach, on Korbanos, you have to make a bracha. So if a person made the bracha by the Korban Pesach, he said, Asher Kiddushan B'Misveisav V'Tzivono La'echol Pesach, he made the bracha on the Pesach, then he is Beira Pater Shal Zevach. He is Paters the bracha on the Zevach. What is the Zevach? The Rasham has two pshatim. One is the Korban Chagiga. So he brings with the Korban Pesach, you bring a Korban Chagiga to be in the Chagiga Sudalit, if necessary, if needed, so that the Korban Pesach Nechal Saiva. It paters the Chagiga. Rashman brings another pshat, it's Nidarim, the Dovas that were brought on Yudalit, the meat is eaten at the night, the brach on the Pesach paters the Nidarim, the Dovas. Birach as shall Zevach, but if he makes the brach on the Zevach, le pater shall Pesach, he does not pater the Korban Pesach. He makes the bracha, Asher Kiddushan B'Misveisav V'Tzivono La'echol Zevach, it does not pater the Korban Pesach. That's Divrei Rabbi Shmuel. That's what Rabbi Shmuel says. Rabbi Kiva Yimri says, Laiput Zoizu Paterazu, V'Laizu Paterazu. He says neither one paters the other one. Neither one of them can pater the other one. Zog the Gemara Kishatim Salaymer, if you would say Divrei Rabbi Shmuel, Zrika B'Chal Shvich, that Zrika is included in Shvicha. Meaning, when the Torah says by certain korbanos, it says Zrika, and that the blood from the Kli is thrown to the side of the Mizbeach. Now it says by the Korban Pesach, that the Korban Pesach, it's poured down the wall of the Mizbeach. It's poured, it's Shvicha, it's not Zrika. Other korbanos, it has to be done with Zrika. But you can see from the Divrei Rabbi Shmuel that Zricha is B'chal Shvicha, that if a person, he did the korban that should have been thrown, he did it with Shvicha, then is Yaitza. V'veloi Shvicha B'chal Zrika. But pouring is not included in Zrika, meaning if it's supposed to be poured, you cannot do it B'Zrika. Therefore, we can explain Rabbi Shmuel as follows, that the Korban Pesach, therefore, if you made the bracha on the Korban Pesach, the Alechol Pesach. Now, there's that common denominator. They have this in common between the Pesach and the Zevach, because if you did the Korban, other Korbanos, other Zad, you did the Zevach. Instead of Zrika, you did it Shvicha. You did it like the Korban Pesach. You did it Shvicha like the Korban Pesach. Therefore, if you make the bracha of the Pesach on the Zevach, that therefore you patra the Zevach. It patras the Zevach because they have this in common, that the Avodah has that similarity, that even on the Zevach, if you did it b'shvicha, by pouring instead of throwing, your yaitza, but vice versa, you're not yaitza. So therefore, you made the bracha on the Zevach, you can't be yaitza the Korban Pesach, because the Zevach is done b'zrika, and the Korban Pesach, even b'di'evet, cannot be done b'zrika. But the livery of Akiva, we'd be saying, according to Rav Akiva, le'shicha b'chal zrika, v'le'zrika b'chal shvicha, that neither one cannot interchange either one, and even b'di'evet, if you did interchange it, you're not yaitza, and therefore the bracha of one cannot pater the other. The Tzlach asks, how can we say in any event that the bracha on the Pesach you can be maitze the zevach? They're two different korbanos, even though they have this in common with the avodah, but they're two different korbanos. How can one be mitzvah to the other? So he says that perhaps in terms of the chagiga, since we learn out from the pasuk, it says Pesach l'Hashem bakar, and the Gemara darshans that the bakar that it says over there means the chagiga. So we see that the Torah calls it a Pesach, so therefore the bracha of the Pesach can be mitzvah the Zevach. But however, according to the Pshat, that the Rashbam means that from also Nidorn and Dovais, this answer would not suffice. But perhaps we can say that since there is this connection, meaning if we hold that the avodah, they do have this in common in the avodah, and the korbanos, the meat that you eat, is nechal, is eaten before the Korban Pesach to be eaten, and the Korban Pesach is eaten al saiva, they are therefore part and parcel. They have a connection to the Korban Pesach, and perhaps that's why you can be yaitzer.